Good evening. You're watching Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nidhi Razdan. Tonight, there are still no arrests more than 24 hours after students and journalists are assaulted at a Delhi court. As the war over JNU gets uglier, the Prime Minister meets the opposition today to find if there is a way that they can work together in Parliament. But is it going to be bye-bye to the budget session now? Also tonight, ahead of the budget, we investigate India's killing fields from Karnataka to Maharashtra to Uttar Pradesh. Why more and more of India's farmers are taking their lives. We'll be bringing you live reports from these three states a little later in the program. But first tonight, the big story, the crisis over Jawaharlal Nehru University and the police crackdown that took place there just days earlier has deepened today. In the midst of that, the Prime Minister met opposition party leaders in hoping to find a way to break the stalemate over Parliament and hoping to find a way to enable legislation to go through. It is learned that opposition leaders raised the JNU issue, in fact urged the Prime Minister to control fringe elements. The Prime Minister is said to have assured them again that he's the Prime Minister not of the BJP but of the entire country. Meanwhile, in the Delhi High Court today, the centre said it was still investigating whether the allegedly seditious behaviour of those it had arrested was youthful error or an international conspiracy, which appears to be very different from the Home Minister's assertion of a Lashkar-e-Taiba link to all of this. Well, 24 hours after the students and journalists were assaulted at Delhi's Patiala House courts by a group of lawyers and a BJP MLA, there has been no action by the police, there have been no arrests. And that is despite very clear visual evidence and an admission by some of those present there that they were involved, though they call it self-defense. Among them is BJP MLA O.P. Sharma, who's seen assaulting someone, and a lawyer named Vikram Chauhan, who admits that he had called people in advance to come to court to take on those that he calls anti-nationals.
Journalists marching to the Supreme Court, protesting against reporters being beaten up in Delhi's Patiala House Court on Monday. The Supreme Court will hear a plea on the violence on Wednesday and also whether the arrested JNU Students' Union President Kanhaiya Kumar needs more security for his next court appearance. But 24 hours after that violence, the Delhi police has failed to even name those involved, let alone arrest them. Despite the fact that some were caught on camera, like lawyer Vikram Singh Chauhan, seen in these pictures beating a CPI activist, Chauhan has even admitted he organized the protest against people he has labelled anti-national. But he denied having BJP links, though he's seen in photographs with many BJP leaders.
मुझे पूरा अंदेशा है कि जो इनके वकीलों की वेशभूषा में जो छात्र आए हुए थे जेएनयू के, जो कम्युनिस्ट विचारधारा वाले जितने भी लोग आए हुए थे, इन लोगों ने न्यूसेंस क्रिएट करने के लिए ये काम किया है. मैं किसी पार्टी के किसी लीगल सेल का मेंबर नहीं हूँ. हाँ, मेरा रिलेशन है.
BJP Delhi MLA O.P. Sharma, who was also seen beating up people, has also tried to shrug off any blame.
जो सज्जन थे, मैं उनका नाम भी नहीं जानता हूँ, वो पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद हिंदुस्तान मुर्दाबाद के नारे लगा रहे थे. मैंने उनको मना किया, भाई आप ऐसा मत करो. वो नहीं माने और इसी बीच में हाथापाई हो गई.
2 cases have been registered. These are now being investigated to identify the persons who took law in their own hand. We will take action that is warranted under the law.
JNU has been virtually paralyzed after Kanhaiya was arrested by the police last week, with students and teachers claiming that he had been wrongfully arrested, with no evidence produced yet to substantiate the Delhi police's case, as well as questions being raised about the violence in court when the student leader was to be produced. The government is now clearly on the back foot. With Sudhiranjan Sen and Siddharth Pandey, Amitabh Revi, NDTV.
Well, this crisis appears to have only worsened, and it doesn't look like the budget session is going to be a smooth one at all, except perhaps for the budget itself. Joining us on the program tonight, Sambit Patra of the BJP, Sachin Pilot, the head of the Rajasthan Congress Party, joins us this evening. We'll be joined by Mr. D. Raja, who's a CPI MP, Rajya Sabha MP. He was there at the all-party meeting today with the Prime Minister. We'll get a perspective from him. Sanjay Hegde, Supreme Court Advocate, Professor Aditya Mukherjee from Jawaharlal Nehru University is with us, and Amit Singh, the Delhi Vice President of the ABVP, also joins us today. Sambit Patra, first of all, 24 hours later, don't you think it's rather amazing that the Delhi police hasn't been able to make one arrest in the assault that took place at the Patiala House courts, despite people like Mr. Chauhan coming on camera admitting that he was there, that he was involved in the violence? He's not even been taken in for questioning on, or any interrogation of any kind.
No, I would say that let the Delhi police function. in the best possible way that it does. Because we had seen that we have faced a similar kind of questioning when the sloganeering of the JNU student, the anti-national sloganeering of the JNU student had taken place. You had asked me, Nidhi, if you remember, that why 24 hours after the sloganeering up till now, no action has been taken, despite the fact that the people were quite evident. The people who were in fact sloganeering were quite evident on the video. What they were speaking was also quite evident in the video. The police gathered all the information and thereafter it went ahead to do its duty. So I believe, as Mr. Bassi, the police commissioner, pointed out just now in your report, that we are looking into the matter, we are investigating. A case has been registered and surely the things would be sorted out.
Really? And there's video evidence. I mean, Mr. Chauhan, who's a lawyer who has admitted that he sent WhatsApp messages to people to come and protest against what he calls anti-nationals at the court. He's on camera saying that yes, he had organized that protest, although he claims that some of it was in self-defense. You have your own MLA from the BJP, Mr. Sharma, who is seen running after a man and then going and brutally assaulting him. So there is nothing that the police has to go on until now. I mean, there's a lot of visual evidence. Journalists have gone and spoken. There are so many witnesses to the incident. 24 hours later, there's nothing that Mr. Bassi can do.
You know, despite the fact that most of the people who were shouting against India, that Bharat ki barbadi hogi, Bharat ke 100 tukde honge, inshallah, inshallah, Pakistan zindabad, despite the fact that their faces were quite evident on the videos, but they were not arrested for 36 or long hours. They were arrested, I mean, one of them was arrested only thereafter. Few of them are still absconding, have not been arrested. There are many people on whom the investigation is still on. So I believe the police looks into every aspect and thereafter it proceeds. And I'm sure the law of this land will take its own course. I mean, things are quite evident. I'm quite sure that Mr. Bassi, the commissioner, as he has said, we are looking into the matter. Case has been registered. We will look. We will see as to how the law proceeds. But my contention over here is there are two issues which we are trying to mix. The issue of prime importance over here is that a group of students, in fact, had sloganeered against this country. The slogans were quite seditious. They were quite sexist in their approach. And today we are trying to find an escape route for them, coming to this debate in a way
how
where
is it an escape route? Mr. Patra, how is it an escape route? You're right, there are two different issues. One is of what the students did and you know what is happening on that end. But the other issue is very much about the way the media was attacked in court for doing its job, and a BJP legislator is seen chasing after somebody and beating him up. Now, should Mr. O.P. Sharma continue as a BJP MLA? Is the BJP okay with what he did? Do you endorse his actions?
No, as Mr. Bassi has pointed out, there are claims and counterclaims. Mr. Sharma has said in his self-defense that in his self-defense, he has been, he did what he did. And in fact, there is an MLC, medical legal case registered, where it seems he has been hurt in his head. There is an injury in his head.
Can we just bring up the pictures of him? I'm just going to show you the pictures of O.P. Sharma chasing somebody out and beating him up. Let's bring those pictures up, because there, it doesn't look like self-defense at all, Sambit. He's not being restrained by anybody. I'm not saying that there are not two versions to the story. But you know, there's actually a shot of him running towards this guy and going to beat him up. Is that how a legislator should behave? Is that how an elected legislator should behave, Mr. Patra? That is the question. Is the BJP okay with this kind of behavior from its legislators, from its elected MLAs?
With due respect, can I ask a question, Nidhi? Nidhi, day before yesterday, I participated in the same debate in this channel itself. You were not the anchor. I believe you were on a leave. And I asked the anchor then as to why the sloganeering, the anti-India sloganeering of JNU was not broadcasted by your channel. The anchor said, well, we would not broadcast such kind of seditious comments because we believe that would break the fabric of the country and we would not show that. So why the selective showing is my question.
No, I'm asking you about your MLA first, because there are two issues. I'm asking about Mr. O.P. Sharma's behavior. So yes, does the BJP endorse his behavior?
I have told, I maintain by what Mr. Bassi, the police commissioner, has said, that there are claims and counterclaims, a case has been registered, law is taking its own course. Well, before the law speaks, why should I speak? I am not above law. I should speak what the law says.
And yet, Sachin Pilot, the BJP and others, you know, the police certainly have chosen to speak on this. And I'm going to ask Sambit about this as well. Today in court, the government actually told the Delhi High Court they're still investigating whether this was a youthful error or an international conspiracy. Very different, Sachin, from what the Home Minister had publicly declared that this was supported by Hafiz Saeed and the Lashkar-e-Taiba.
I think what's the sequence of events to my mind, are reflective of a certain kind of thinking. Now, if anybody speaks against the nation state, our sovereign country, our integrity, I and the Congress party believe that we should take strong action against people who speak anti-India. But let people not be confused. Speaking against the BJP is not anti-national. Just because you don't agree with the ideology, you are putting sedition charges, sending the Delhi police, picking up students, faculty, creating a whole ruckus about this. Look at the statements coming out. You're calling JNU a hub of Maoists. You're calling JNU a hub of terrorists. Pakistani terrorists are being linked to it. I mean, they're trying to exaggerate the issue and create such divisive atmosphere in our society, which is unbecoming of a ruling dispensation. Now, talk about their behavior. There's nothing to investigate. You see a BJP MLA chasing a gentleman, beating the hell out of him, and then saying it's self-defense. The lawyer says that I organized these lawyers to come and, beat up journalists, so there's no action taken. Law will take its own course if the BJP allows it to happen. The Delhi police will be responsible only if they are allowed to act in a certain way. But you can't, as union ministers and BJP top leadership keeps making public statements, how do you expect agencies and police to do the job? I think it's absolutely unbecoming of the BJP to do this kind of politics with brute force and police and charging people and faculty in JNU. Anybody anti-India, yes, you take action against that person, but don't brand the entire institute or the university as anti-India just because they're anti-BJP for some matter.
Yes, Sambit,
and I think it's not. One last point I want to make, Nidhi. You see, look at what happened in Hyderabad campus. Look at what happened in Delhi University campus. Why are we not talking about inflation, price rise, corruption, job creation, FDI, investments, etc. that the BJP kept talking about? Almost 2 years later, we're talking about Ghar Wapsi and Jihad and JNU and Maoist, and these non-issues are becoming controversial because the BJP wants to deflect the attention of the people of India.
No, so if this was backed by the Lashkar-e-Taiba Sambit, why didn't the government just state that to the High Court today? I mean, the Home Minister declared that this was backed by the LET, but in court, the government today said that it's still being investigated whether this is a youthful error or an international conspiracy. How does that square off with what the Home Minister said?
I'll answer this as well, Nidhi, but let me first answer the question put forth by Mr. Sachin Pilot. Mr. Sachin Pilot saying that speaking against BJP is not speaking against India. But I believe that is selective hearing, Mr. Pilot. If you would please go through the video, which has probably been aired in other channels, not in this channel, you would hear what has been spoken. Pakistan Zindabad is not speaking against BJP, it is speaking against India. India ke 100 tukde, Bharat ke 100 tukde honge, inshallah, inshallah. That is not speaking against Bharatiya Janata Party, that is speaking against India. हाफिज सईद अफजल गुरु को तुम फांसी दो, हर घर से हम अफजल गुरु पैदा करेंगे. That is not speaking against Bharatiya Janata Party. Anyways, after having addressed Afzal Guru as Afzal Guru Ji, I believe he may have been assembled as your property. That's
Mr. Patra, your ally in Jammu and Kashmir, the PDP, has called the hanging of Afzal Guru a travesty. It has spoken out as early as late as last year against the hanging of Afzal Guru. So how are they anti-national too? Are you going to put Mehbooba Mufti in jail as well?
Let me. As far as the PDP is concerned, this alibi taken by the Congress that since you have been with PDP, though they were also with the PDP, that means you are aligning with people who are anti-national. So you have no right to speak about this. Let me remind you the fact that for 65 long years they have ruled this country. If PDP, as per their definition, is anti-national, then they should have revoked the membership of PDP as a regional party. They would have gone to the Election Commission and complained against PDP. So making just selective cases over here is not going to work. And I'll tell you, Nidhi, okay. 10 seconds. If PDP comes out on the street shouting slogans against India, saying that India ke 100 tukde honge, saying that India barbad ho jayega, saying that Pakistan zindabad, then you have every right to question me, every right to question the Bharatiya Janata Party if we, despite that, continue to be with them.
Professor Mukherjee, the debate actually isn't about the slogans, because I think that there is almost a near unanimity among people that these were slogans that were distasteful, that a lot of people didn't like. And to come on a campus which is funded by the government, these students, study here, frankly, my first reaction was, well, if you don't like it, then don't study in an Indian government, funded university. But it's the question of the state's response. Right. Was it a proportionate response to something? Should it not have been the now here's the important question. Should it not have been the university that should have initiated then administrative action against these students, then looked at the possibility of expelling them or suspending them? Instead, we have a report today that the Vice Chancellor actually, from day one, invited the police onto campus.
Absolutely. This is
Does that shock you?
Unprecedented. You are absolutely right. Something did happen, and by 8 o'clock, everybody had gone back. There was protest, the counter-protest saying that this sort of thing, slogan should not be raised. But the picture that is drawn, I want to say this because I'm pained. You know, I've been a student and in the faculty of JNU and lived in JNU for the last 40 years. So we've had all kinds of political opinion. As a young student, most of my classmates in St. Stephen's were Naxalites. And they used to raise slogans like, Chairman Mao is our chairman. And most of them are now very responsible people holding high positions and doing more social work and national work than many of the boxwalas. So it's in a university to name the way the JNU is being painted as if we are a terrorist training unit in Afghanistan. You know, we train anti-nationalists. It's such rubbish. 55 of the current secretaries of government of India are from JNU. Your foreign secretary is JNU. Your IB chief was JNU, my classmate. Your raw directors are JNU. You know, and to paint the whole university, destroy one of the finest universities that we have created in this country, where today 400 academics from all over the world, 400 of them from the best universities and the most well-known people have written saying that this is a travesty. You're destroying an institution which has created ideas, which has debated them, and we are so proud of that. We've had BJP in our campus. I have had students who are BJP, who are ABVP. We've had students who oppose the state, and what's wrong? Why should not one oppose the state? You know, this notion that in a university some policeman is going to decide, or it's not fringe elements, unfortunately. Fringe elements we can deal with. Its home minister says, ki dekh lenge, pointing fingers. Is this the way you deal with students? This is appalling, appalling what is happening to our country. And if we do not stand up, it has already started happening to you journalists, and tomorrow it will be others. The citizens of this country cannot allow an educational institution to be destroyed in this manner, which this government is doing.
So, let me just get Amit Singh of the ABVP into this. And Amit, just taking off from what the professor said.
I'll just
you know,
one second,
Sambit, one second. Let me just get Amit here because he's from the ABVP. I mean, you know what student politics can be like. And, you know, some people have argued that there shouldn't be politics on campus. But if you look at so many of our political leaders today, they've thrived. I mean, they've all come from political backgrounds where they began as student leaders. You know, even Arun Jaitley and others, you know, they were part of the ABVP and well, Sambit himself. So, you know, has this been blown out of proportion? Amit, that is the question. That could there have been a better response where the university should have dealt with the students who made the offensive slogans rather than the police? Expel them if you have to. Let the university decide.
The problem is that with JNU, because I am also a former student of JNU and proud JNUite. The problem is that because we have seen from these several years, because I have spent more than 10 or 12 years as a student of JNU. But problem is that I have seen on various occasions, various anti-India activities is going on, and anti-India slogans, pro-Pakistan, pro-terrorist, pro-Naxals are their daily rituals. And most of the occasion, the JNU administration has done nothing to stop these maniacs from the JNU campus. But let me clarify one thing, no one is against the JNU as an institution, but to dilute the entire debate, who is anti-national and especially the fringe elements in JNU, because for the first time I have seen people have covered their faces and they have raised anti-India or pro-Pakistani slogans, because during my own student days I have never seen a communist or maybe any person who have covered their face and raising anti-India slogan. But the another problem of JNU is that because there are various student bodies, especially the left are there, but indirectly there are some competition within the left parties who is more red than the others, and just for their own political adventurism, these people have raised anti-India slogan not only on 9th February, but the Hawala incident came into light when in mid-90s, the Shahabuddin Gauri is arrested from the JNU campus. ISA, the CPI ML student wing, they have invited Yasin Malik and other terrorists to the JNU campus. The two army men brutally beaten up by these communist elements in the JNU under the banner called the Friendship Mushaira between India and Pakistan. They have termed APJ Kalam as a mass murderer just because he
Professor
has
Mukherjee,
held...
Professor Mukherjee, because
just
look,
to complete my point, because there are various other issues,
no, I want
and
to ask
these
Professor
communists are
Mukherjee on this
finding
before I come to
safe
Sanjay.
haven in JNU because administration has done nothing.
Well, the same administration was quick to call the police this time and let the police come in on campus.
This sort of thing should not be dealt by the police. If there are disaffected people, if students have wrong ideas, the way to deal with it is to correct those ideas, to give them the space to talk about them, to brand them as anti-national. The moment somebody opens their mouth, you're anti-national. If I was to say that anybody who believes in Hindu nationalism is anti-national because it divides the nation, then would I be permitted to do so? Why not? Anti-national is what? Who defines anti-national? There are 100 ways of looking at the nation. The imagination of the nation since the 19th century all over the world has been done differently.
Can I ask him
so
a
we want
question?
to imagine our nation as a compassionate, inclusive, open, with civil liberties. That's the nation we want. Not a nation with the police state and with big brothers with their goons beating up anybody they don't like. Terrorizing intellectuals. They have called our intellectuals, this government and their followers, Murli Manohar Joshi called Ramila Thapar and Bipin Chandran intellectual terrorists, more dangerous than Pakistani terrorists. This is what worries me, that the nature of the state will change. If we allow this kind of oppression of academics, students, intellectuals, journalists, we will change the nature of the
Sanjay,
state.
why are we all turning on each other? I mean, Nirupama Rao, the former foreign secretary, tweeted today, this is a great country. You don't need to devour each other in the process, but that's what's happening, and there are these sort of lines being drawn on who is anti-national, who isn't anti-national. I mean, look at the way those alleged lawyers came into the court yesterday and beat up young reporters. Is that nationalism? Does that make them better Indians because they beat up young reporters, including women?
Well, it's like this. We are all getting into mini George W. Bushes. You're either with us or you're against us.
That's right.
And this kind of Bushism is not what India is about. Absolutely. You see, the point is, today if I say that what the lawyers did was wrong, and I say it is wrong, then some lawyer or the other is going to say, you did not stand with lawyers. You are with us or you are against us. No, that's not what India is about. India is an inclusive country. India used to be a much less angry country.
Absolutely.
Somehow or the other, what's happened is, especially after the last couple of years, even the people who have won don't seem to be happy with winning. They seem to be angry. They seem to be hell-bent on enforcing their anger through various diktats, that this is the way that things will be from here on. That's not what this country is about. That's not what this constitution is about. That's not our social compact. We have to walk together, otherwise we'll all destroy ourselves.
Sambit, let me take this back to you before I bring Sachin and D. Raja into this debate. On this point of why, why is there the need for the state to act with a heavy hand, to get the police involved? Nobody approves of the sloganeering. Again, there are many of us who don't agree with the slogans that were shouted. But couldn't the university have dealt with it at the university's level, at an administrative level, expelled or suspended them if needed? What is the message that's going out here?
No, few things. I mean, whatever happened that day, 9th of February, if I'm right, was quite a structured design in JNU, because I have the pamphlets and I have the posters with me. The pamphlets are so elaborative. Afzal, tumhare armano ko hum manzil tak pahunchayenge. And you should go through the content of this pamphlet, where they seek it is not just Jammu and Kashmir, which the freedom of which we demand. We also demand the freedom of Manipur, Nagaland, Assam, Gorkhaland. I mean, in such details, explicit details, these pamphlets were printed.
It's not as if Manipur, Nagaland have all run away because a bunch of students have made those slogans.
Let me come.
The Indian state is stronger
For
than
the last 10 years, according to a friend here,
Nidhi, you gave time to everyone. Please be tolerant to the other view as well, Nidhi. Your show should be tolerant to the other view as well.
Sambit, please, let's not get into this. Your time is being cut. You've had the full first 5 minutes. So let's have a respectable debate here. Go ahead.
Let me. No, first I was listening to the professor from JNU, and he said that why can't we oppose the state? Why can't we go against the state? Well, to what extent can you go against the state? Today you are saying that, well, the country should be broken into pieces. Kashmir should not be the integral part of India. We are fine with it. We are okay with it. Tomorrow, with the ISIS menace hanging over our head, if suppose tomorrow they want to propagate the idea of ISIS within the JNU campus, you would say, so what? They are not beheading. They are just propagating the idea of ISIS. Let them do it. It's quite fine.
I didn't say let them do it. We will fight them.
He didn't say let them do it.
We will fight them
He said don't bring the
ideologically.
police into it.
The problem here
Just
is
a
they
second, sir.
assume
Just a second.
positions.
I have not
You
completed,
assume positions,
sir,
and you
did
try
I
to box
interrupt?
people
this,
into
this
that.
is your intolerance.
No, no,
this
I
is
am
the intolerance
it's
of
me,
left.
Sanjay Hegde.
You do not
Sanjay,
want.
this
You
is
do
Sanjay
not
Hegde.
want anyone
I
else
am
to
telling
speak.
you that
you do not want
you
anyone
tend
else to rule this country.
you
And
tend
if
to
anyone
box
speaks or
people,
rules this country,
you tend to
you would
box
devour
people
them.
into
You would
positions.
malign them.
You
That's
try
what
to
is happening
malign
in the debate
people
as well.
by
Just a
saying that
second,
they are
Mr.
such
Sanjay.
people.
I did not interject.
Okay, I am
telling you
one
where
second,
the
one
I
problem
did not
is.
interject you.
I'm
Did
telling
I
you where your
interject?
problem is.
Did I interject when you were speaking?
Sambit,
Did I
one second.
interject?
I just want to
Let's
read
have-
out a
let's be
piece of
courteous.
news. I
Let's
just want to read out
complete
a
in the
piece of
last 10
news.
seconds.
Sambit, I just want to read out Vikram
Yes,
Chauhan,
yes.
Sachin, the same lawyer who has been caught on camera brutally assaulting people and who did an interview with us admitting that he organized, this protest in advance at Patiala House yesterday and all of that, has sent another WhatsApp. And he sent another WhatsApp calling for another protest against anti-nationals tomorrow morning at court. So, Sachin, what are the cops doing? I mean, this guy obviously thinks he can get away with it, that he can do another protest tomorrow. And I'm just looking through this WhatsApp and I can't even, repeat some of the language in it. But, obviously there's no fear of the law.
Clearly,
Can I
what,
complete?
This
Sachin
lawyer
Pilot
Chauhan
first.
and the MLA,
Okay.
Mr. Sharma, are doing openly, brazenly, and without remorse shows that there is certain backing for their actions from the top levels of the Indian government. My issue is not about if some young student makes an anti-India statement or slogan, please, we will not tolerate it. We are a sovereign state, we respect our integrity, and Congress party stands solidly behind any move to punish people who are anti-India. But for God's sake, don't think that you are the masters and you are the lords of who is anti and who's not anti-India. There is insurgency movement in Nagaland, Manipur and Kashmir for 50 years. And don't tell the Congress party how to fight terrorism. We've lost 2 prime ministers and chief minister and fighting people who are terrorists. But you cannot use brute force of the state to quieten people who don't agree with your ideology. Have the openness to listen to other people. If there are some students who are miscreants, expel them from the university. But why send the Delhi police? Why put sedition charges? Why put people in jail? Why pick up people, faculty and students and take them to prison and have them beaten up in the court in full public view? It shows that there is no tolerance of any anti-government view. Anti-BJP view will not be tolerated. Academicians, students, intellectuals, scientists, whoever they are. That mindset is effective in Hyderabad University incident because the debate was whether the gentleman who died, young fellow, was he a OBC or a SC? Was the certificate true or false? Talk about the issues. Union ministers are talking about issues on university campuses. It shows that there is a strong intent to quieten any dissent who speaks against the BJP or the government of the day.
Let me just get
that
Mr.
I think
Raja.
is unacceptable to most Indians.
Because Mr. Raja has just joined us, and Mr. Raja,
No,
you were present at the
just a
meeting with the
second.
Prime
Would Mr.
Minister.
Sachin
One
Pilot
second,
speak about
Sambit,
the
please,
fact that
1
Asim
second.
Trivedi was-
Hold on,
Asim
let me just
Trivedi
ask
was
Mr.
put
Raja, who's
behind
been
bars
quietly waiting,
under
Sambit.
sedition
I'll come
charge.
back to you. I promise you we have
Just
enough
for
time.
cartoon.
We have enough time to come back to you. Mr. Raja, you were there in the all-party meeting with the Prime Minister today. I believe you were also shown a video by one of the senior ministers present there of some of the sloganeering that took place in JNU. Can you share with us what you saw? Did it convince you in any way that, what happened that day was completely out of line and inappropriate, Mr. Raja?
No, it was not in the meeting. After the meeting, while we were dispersing, Mr. Arun Jaitley was showing some clipping to Mr. Anand Sharma. I was there. That is not something new. Already we have seen such clippings on all channels in the past few days. That is not the issue. The issue is what we discussed in the all-party meeting. And Prime Minister wanted to listen to the leaders of various political parties. And we expressed our views. In fact, when I spoke, I told the Prime Minister what is happening in JNU. I asked the Prime Minister, can anyone who knows the history of All India Students Federation, the politics of All India Students Federation, allege that All India Students Federation is doing anti-national activities. What is happening in our country? I asked the Prime Minister. I agree with Prime Minister when he spoke about the pain of a mother. And I said, when Rohit committed suicide, you made the statement, you have the Mother India lost one son, and I told the Prime Minister, don't allow Mother India to lose more sons and daughters. And the Prime Minister said he understands the pain of a mother. I said, you understand the pain of Kanhaiya Kumar's mother also, who is living in some tiny village in Bihar. I told the Prime Minister, what is happening? Why such things should happen? What is sedition? How can they slap sedition on All India Students Federation activists, the Jawaharlal Nehru Students Union President? What is the justification? Prime Minister should intervene, whether Home Minister is doing it on his own or it has approval of the entire government. I asked the Prime Minister categorically. So the problem is the anti-national Vidyarthi Parishad should not accuse others for anti-national activities. Where was ABVP, I am asking? I told the Home Minister of this country, All India Students Federation was formed in the year 1936 in the city of Lucknow.
Please
listen to me. All India Students, listen to me.
Yeah.
No, listen to me. All India Students Federation was formed in the year 1936 in the city of Lucknow. The inaugural session was addressed by none other than Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. I told this to Mr. Rajnath Singh and I asked him, do you consider AISF can be anti-national organization? What is happening in this government?